Hey, what's up?
Hey, Alex, how are you? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can.
Awesome. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day to come on.
Absolutely. Happy to do it, Alex.
Welcome to episode number 98 of Hoop Talk Fanatics. I'm here with Aaron Bracy from Big5Hoops.com, and I'm happy to have the opportunity again to talk to him about Big Five basketball and what has been happening in everything basketball for Philadelphia. So welcome.
Oh, happy to do it, Alex. Always look forward to talking hoops with you.
Same. Let's start off with St. Joe's. I know you'll be covering them tonight against Coastal Carolina. What are your expectations for them tonight, heading into tonight's matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I would expect them to win tonight's game against Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is a team from the Sun Belt Conference, a lower conference than the Atlantic 10. St. Joe's is really, their schedule has been an issue, Alex. They've played a very poor schedule, bottom 200 in the country. Actually, I haven't looked today, but it might even be like 230, 240. And strength of schedule has been an issue this season. They haven't played as well as I thought outside of the first half at Syracuse. Obviously, they won that buzzer beater at Temple, which you were there. That was a great finish. That was a great win for them. But consistency for me has been an issue. I do think they're going to win tonight against Coastal Carolina. If they don't, it will be a huge disappointment. Then they have one more game left in non-conference against Division III school Arcadia until they begin conference play at St. Louis on New Year's Eve. So we'll see more. We'll learn more about St. Joseph's when they play in the conference. I don't know that we'll learn all that much tonight, unless they lose. Then we'll learn a lot. But I think the conference schedule has been an issue. That's been their biggest issue for me, or non-conference schedule. That's been their biggest issue.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on the A10 as a whole and how it's shaping up to be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The A10 has traditionally been a 2 or 3 bid league in the NCAA tournament, as you know. Lately, it's been relegated to a 1 bid league, which is a shame. Like last season, George Mason played VCU in the championship game of the Atlantic 10 tournament. I think either one of those teams could have made a decent run in the NCAA tournament. VCU won. George Mason did not get into the NCAA tournament, which is a shame. And ultimately, right now, the conference is really struggling to find its way with the metrics, with the strength of schedule, getting teams from larger Power 4 or Power 5 conferences to play them in the non-conference. And then when they get the opportunity, winning the games. But they're just not getting a lot of opportunities. The top half of the conference is still good. Dayton and VCU are still very good teams. And I think the conference as a whole is a good league. It's just the schedule is an issue. And they're going to have to figure out ways to get higher strength of schedule, to get higher in KenPom, to get higher in the NCAA net. Because right now it's looking at the moment like this potentially could be another season for 1 bid in the Atlantic 10, which is a shame because I think the conference is better than that.
Mm-hmm. I see St. Joe's starts the new year at home against A&3 Davidson. That should be an interesting start to the new year with how that game is going to go.
Yeah, I think it will be. It'll be interesting, too, because Davidson has Sam Brown, who played at Penn last season, the son of former 76ers coach Brett Brown. So it'll be cool to see him play in Philly again, back home. Davidson, they've been like kind of up and down this season. They lost to Temple the other day, which was a pretty good win for Temple at Davidson. But traditionally, Davidson is a very good program in the Atlantic 10, a team that can shoot the 3-pointer. So I think that'll be a better test for St. Joseph's than what they've had. Although I think Davidson was picked like 10th in the conference, St. Joe's was picked like 7th in the preseason. Mm-hmm. So I think until you see St. Joe's play the top half of the conference, like they're going to play at St. Louis in their opener, that'll be a good test. VCU, Dayton, George Mason, who am I forgetting? Those are some of the schools anyway that I think will give you a litmus test of really what this St. Joe's team can be in the conference this year.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to Villanova, they are 9-2 in the Big East. They came off a big win against Wisconsin in Milwaukee on Friday in overtime. I got to watch that whole game, and I loved how Matthew Hodge, Bryce Lindsey, and Caden Lewis played. I thought that they really thrived throughout that game, and they just held the Badgers to a limited amount of points, which was great to see. And I'm really anxious to see what they can do at Seton Hall tomorrow.
Yeah, great points by you, Alex. And add Duke Brennan to that list. Duke Brennan had a really good game, but you're right. Matt Hodge, Caden Lewis, Bryce Lindsey, they all played really well. And to your point, I think the key was their defense. And especially early, they were able to really take control of the game with their defense and led to really good offense. Villanova's been a good offensive team all year, but I think defensively they played really well against Wisconsin. And that game really should not have gone to overtime. If you watched, they had their chances in regulation. Made a few mistakes down the stretch. Free throw shooting was an issue in that game. It's been an issue all season. Caden Lewis missed a late free throw during a one-on-one situation, which really would have given Villanova some cushion. But give Villanova credit. And Bryce Lindsey came out in overtime, hit 2 3-pointers early, when I thought like potentially they could have lost their chance to win by going into overtime. But just a really good win for Villanova. I have not looked at the AP rankings today, so I don't know if they're ranked or not. But it's a game that really puts them.
They are not. They are not.
They're not ranked. Okay.
No.
Thank you. But they're right on the cusp. If they beat Seton Hall on Tuesday, like you said, Alex, I think they could potentially get into the AP top 25. But either way, right now they're looking like an NCAA tournament team, which I think is going to make every Villanova fan happy at the moment.
I think I saw earlier today that Villanova had, I think, 4 or 5 votes, and Seton Hall had 49.
Villanova had 4. Okay. I would have thought Villanova would have more than that, but okay.
Actually, it might have been the other way around.
Okay.
Villanova didn't have any votes.
Yeah, I mean, I think like they still have more to prove. Like they've beaten. That was really a great win against Wisconsin. They beat them in Milwaukee, essentially more or less a home court. It goes down as a neutral court, but you're right there in Wisconsin. They beat a Pitt team from a power conference. They won the Big Five Classic tournament title over Penn, but there's still their schedule. And Kevin Willard even admitted they need to play better competition to see what they are from the voters. But I mean, hey, you got to give them credit. They've been playing really well. They've been one of the really pleasant surprises for me in the Big Five this season with how well they've played. And I think I did not think this was a tournament team at the beginning of the season. And right now they are certainly proving me wrong.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on how Penn is looking and against Rutgers the other night?
Yeah, I didn't watch the game the other night against Rutgers. I just followed the box score. I think Penn's been great this season. Unfortunately, Ethan Roberts did not play against Rutgers. He did not play in their previous game at Lafayette after getting injured against Villanova in the Big Five Classic tournament game, title game. So I think Penn is going to be potentially a contender in the Ivy League with a healthy Ethan Roberts. He's their best player. He scored 31 points against St. Joseph's at the Palestra, followed that up with another big game at Drexel. Just a phenomenal shooter. Really fits Fran McCaffrey's up-tempo style really perfectly. And I think if he's back and if he's healthy, I think Penn can contend in the Ivy League. If not, I don't think they're going to be able to contend. I just don't think they have enough depth. I don't think they have enough scoring. But I do think they're on the right track. I think Fran McCaffrey gives them a coach with a pedigree. He's won everywhere he's been. He's at Lehigh, UNC Greensboro, Siena, Iowa. At every stop, he's won a conference title. He's back in Philly, back where his hometown, back at his alma mater. And I expect Penn to be really good in the Ivy League. in the very near future.
Mm-hmm. I see they start off the new year at Princeton. I know that Princeton hasn't been up to their standard of winning. As of now, they are 3-11. Going into tonight at Temple. I'm really anxious to see how they play tonight, especially against a Temple team that's 7-5 and a pretty mediocre team, I would say. But I just think that that Penn is a pretty solid team offensively, and they can make some noise. But I'm not really positive that they can be the top 4 team of the Ivy League with how it's shaping up to be.
Yeah, and you're around Princeton a little bit more than me, Alex. I know you're over there quite a bit at Jadwin Gym. I have to be honest, I have not watched much Princeton this year. I do follow the box scores. I know they played Temple once this year, a close game, and Temple won that game in Florida. So this is very rare where a team is playing a non-conference foe twice. So Temple is playing Princeton for the second time. And you're right, Temple has been a pretty average team this season. I'd say probably a little better than average. But a game that Temple needs to win. As far as Princeton's concerned, I think they're feeling the effects of losing Xavion Lee to Florida. I think they lost another top player to the transfer portal.
Caden Pierce.
Okay, yeah, there you go, Caden Pierce.
Yeah.
So, and that's what happens. We're seeing that locally with Drexel. Drexel lost 4 players to Power 5 conference programs, and it's just tough when you're trying to replace your best players. It's not easy. And I think Princeton will get it together. I think they're going to be competitive. I know their coach is an excellent coach, but I haven't studied them enough to really give you an honest evaluation. From the Temple standpoint, Temple's been playing better basketball of late. Darian Ford has given them a great chance in every game. Aiden Tobiasen in the backcourt has been playing really well all season for 2 seasons, really. And Gavin Griffiths, who transferred from Rutgers, then to Nebraska and then to Temple, has been playing like the number 20 ranked prospect in the country that he was by 247 Sports coming out of high school. Unfortunately for Gavin and for Temple, he got hurt last Sunday against St. Francis. I was there, and he did not play in their game on Thursday at Davidson. So his availability tonight is in question. If they have him, I think that gives Temple another offensive weapon. I think Temple is similar to Penn in the respect that they don't have a lot of scoring depth. With Darian Ford, Aiden Tobiasen, and Gavin Griffiths, they have 3 players that are going to score the basketball, but they haven't gotten a lot of scoring out of the front court, nor have they gotten a lot of scoring out of their bench. So something to watch tonight. If Gavin Griffiths does not play, I think that's going to certainly help Princeton's cause.
Speaking of Temple, I was at Jadwin earlier today because Princeton women played Temple.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Somebody else played today. Who was it? Not Penn. I think Villanova women might have played today as well because of the.
Oh yeah, they did.
The school day games. How the game? I did not follow it at all. How did the game go?
Princeton won 87-77.
Okay. Yeah, Diane Richardson is the coach at Temple. I did watch Temple play in the Big 5 Women's Classic. St. Joseph's and Villanova played in the final. Villanova won that game. Bryn McMurray for Villanova had a tremendous game. She was the Mel Greenberg MVP. Villanova has a really good team, a team I think that could contend in the Big East. I couldn't really give you a breakdown analysis of the rest of the Big 5 based on just the one game that I saw from the women's standpoint. I do know St. Joseph's has been very good in recent years in the Atlantic 10. I think Richmond has been the top dog in that league, an NCAA tournament team. But yeah, it was really enjoyable. The Big 5 Women's Classic. I started out, Alex, covering women's basketball in college. That was my first quote unquote beat for the student newspaper, covering the St. Joseph's women's basketball team. Then I covered the Philadelphia Rage of the American Basketball League, a women's league. The Philadelphia Rage's point guard was Dawn Staley, which was really cool. So I have a lot of background and enjoy women's basketball. I just have not had a chance to cover it a ton this season.
What are your thoughts on how Temple men is looking? I know that we mentioned them earlier in the podcast, but I just wanted to go a little more in depth of how their schedule looks, especially heading into the new year.
Yeah, and I think that's, they can't get an at-large bid. Their schedule, their non-conference schedule was not strong enough, nor did they win the games they needed to win. They would have needed to beat Villanova, which they didn't. They do have a pretty nice win over Hofstra, a good Hofstra team, but Hofstra's obviously a mid-major team, but Hofstra's beaten Syracuse. There's somebody else that Hofstra's defeated that's pretty good. That's slipping my mind right now. Pittsburgh. So that's a good win for Temple, but it's going to come down to the conference. Temple was picked 9th of 13 teams in their conference. And they're going to need to play really well. That's a conference top heavy with Memphis, Tulane, some of the other teams that have given Temple trouble, I think, to North Texas as well. But this is a Temple team that, like I said before, they have really good play in the backcourt with Aiden Tobias and Darian Ford and Gavin Griffiths. Their front court is serviceable, but they need to probably provide more scoring. They've gotten very little scoring off the bench. So I think right now, Temple could be better than 9th of 13 in the American, maybe like a top half of the conference team. I don't see them contending in the conference. But I think with those 3 players that I mentioned, I think they're going to have a chance to be in every game that they play.
What other team outside of the Big Five in the AAC has been on your mind of being a top contender?
Yeah, and I don't follow the conference that closely, but when I was at Temple, I covered the Temple St. Francis game. I was looking closely at the top teams in the conference. There were 4 teams ranked in the top 25. It was Memphis, Tulane, and the 2 others are slipping my mind right now. But what I noticed is that the conference really hasn't had a lot of success in the non-conference, like maybe in years past. Like Memphis' schedule is unbelievable. They have one of the top 5 strength of schedules in the country. I mean, they're playing everybody, which is really great to see. It reminds me of what John Chaney used to do at Temple. But I don't think they've won as many. I don't have their schedule in front of me, their record in front of me. But when I looked then, they hadn't won as many games as maybe that would get them in the top 25, that would get them on the national radar. But there's still a good Memphis team based on what I saw. And I think the conference is going to go through Memphis based on what I know right now.
Mm-hmm. What games will you be covering to start off the new year?
Yeah, well, I'm going to be at St. Joseph's tonight, and I'll be at the 76ers game Tuesday night. And then I'm going to have a little bit of a break. I'm going to New Year's Eve, I'm going to cover LaSalle is hosting George Mason at 2:00, and Villanova is hosting DePaul at 6:00. So it'll be probably a week off between games, which is a long stretch, but a needed stretch. Looking forward to a bit of a break. And I haven't gotten past New Year's Eve, so I couldn't even tell you. I know there's a bunch of 76ers games in January. So as you know, I'm writing a book on the 2001 76ers. So I've been to every 76ers home game this season and going to continue to get there, covering the 76ers for the Associated Press and also getting stuff for my book, quite honestly. So I'm going to try and work the college basketball coverage around the 76ers. And I know it's going to be a bit challenging in January just because of the number of home games 76ers have. So I couldn't tell you where I'm going to be yet.
How's the book going?
It's going great. Thank you for asking. I've completed about 32 interviews so far. I've began my research in June, and it's just been wonderful. Really enjoyed the research, really enjoyed talking to people about that team. I have not written a word yet. I plan to start my writing in April after the 76ers season is over. Maybe sooner, depending on if I can get the interviews that I'd like to get. But it's going great. I can't wait. It's going to be published in April of 2027. The title is Are You Kidding Me? The incredible, inspiring story of Allen Iverson and the 2001 Philadelphia 76ers. So I think, Alex, people like yourself who really weren't around then, but who love the 76ers are going to love learning a lot about that team. And old guys like me and people of my peers who were around then, like I think they're gonna enjoy like reliving those moments because it was such a special, memorable season, and it's just been incredible. As the subtitle of the story, it's been incredible to do the research and to talk to people about that team.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to keep you on too long because I know you have to be somewhere. But I just have a couple more questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are your thoughts on how Drexel and LaSalle are doing?
Yeah, Drexel's coming off two really good wins. They beat Mount St. Mary's on Friday night, and they did that without Garfield Turner, one of their best players, and they beat Maine yesterday convincingly too. It wasn't even close. And Mount St. Mary's and Maine were teams that were in the top of their conference last season. So those are two really good wins. It's going to take Drexel some time. I think they lost, as I mentioned, they lost 4 players to Power 5 conferences. Cole Hargroves at Providence, Yame Butler's at Butler, Jason Deuce Drake is at Indiana, and Kobe McGee is at Florida State. So the thing that Drexel does so well, Zach Spike and her staff, is they develop players. And it's just going to take time for some of the players who did not play in leading roles last season to really kind of find their footing and do what they can do to their best ability. And I think we're starting to see that. Kavan Vanderhorst, who was a junior college transfer, he played marginal minutes last season. He did get on the court, but he's playing a much bigger role now. He had 30 points against Howard. It was a Tuesday game. They lost that game. So he had 30 points in that game, though. But then they came back and they won their last 2. So I look for Drexel to be competitive in their conference. And I'd like to see, like, by end of January, I'd like to see where they are to really have a better evaluation. As far as LaSalle, like, they've been rather disappointing. I expected more from them. In fairness to LaSalle, they've had some injuries this season where they've had players shuffling in and out of the lineup. They expected Truth Harris, their point guard, to be kind of like their floor general. He got hurt in the first game, and he's still working his way back. But they have not been playing as well as I've expected. And the thing that's really hurting LaSalle, quite honestly, is their three-point shooting. I don't have the numbers in front of me, Alex, but I think they're shooting in 25, 27% as a team, one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country. And it's tough today to win basketball games when you can't hit the three-pointer. They were doubled up yesterday at Michigan, Sunday at Michigan. I think they lost like 102 to 51 or 101 to 52, something like that. Now, not everyone's kind of getting blown out by Michigan, but they lost to High Point Friday. They lost to Long Island, I think the Monday or Tuesday before that. So, like, you'd like the Michigan thing, no shame in that, but you'd like to see them win at least out of the 2 games, LIU or High Point. You'd like to see them win one of those. So I'd like to see what they are with more lineup continuity. I'm looking forward to seeing them in person on New Year's Eve. But for me, they've been a bit disappointing based on what I thought they could be, but still plenty of season left to prove me wrong.
My next set of questions. What type of, like, matchups are you looking forward to tonight against Coastal Carolina?
Well, interestingly, there are 2 of the best shot blockers in the country tonight with St. Joe's Justice Ajibar, and Coastal Carolina has a player whose name is slipping my mind. But so I'm interested to see the defense. And the other thing that I'm looking forward is to introducing myself to Coastal Carolina coach Justin Gray. Justin was on the Wake Forest team along with Chris Paul that played St. Joseph's in the Sweet 16. Behind me, you can see my book, A Soaring Season. And I wrote about that season and that team. And so I'm looking forward to talking to Justin, if I can, a little bit about that game, his remembrances, and sharing some stories from the book. So we'll see if I get that opportunity. But honestly, that's one of the things I'm looking forward to tonight.
Will you be working on any more interviews in the coming days?
I'm going to take a bit of a break here over the holidays, over Christmas break. I want to spend time with my family. It's been very intense, the amount of interviews. I just did a really great interview yesterday with Jim Lynam, who is a former 76ers coach, longtime NBA coach, and he gave me some great insight into Allen Iverson. He coached Allen Iverson as an assistant coach on the 76ers. He coached against him as a head coach in the NBA and as an assistant coach in the NBA. He saw him play in the summer league. He was just gave me tremendous insight into Allen Iverson. So I do have several interviews lined up in the new year, Alex, but I don't have anything lined up on the horizon, and intentionally so. I'm going to be taking a bit of a break. I need to catch my breath a bit here.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk Big Five hoops, and I look forward to having you again on soon. Definitely once the new year kicks off, and I hope you enjoy your Christmas holiday with your family, and I'll talk soon.
Absolutely, Alex. I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate all that you do for Philadelphia basketball, and I wish the best to you and your family over Christmas. And I look forward to talking to you again soon, Alex.
Thank you. Have fun tonight.
Take care. Talk to you soon, Alex.
Okay. See ya.